Okay, hi everyone. So we have here with us Jessica Carver from Richard Bland College. So she is the admission rep for Waynesboro High School, and she is here to tell us a little bit about Richard Bland, and she's going to share a presentation about everything you need to know about the college and application process and everything for them. So Jessica, if you want to go ahead and share your screen for the presentation.
All right. You guys see my screen okay?
Yep,
Perfect.
coming up perfect.
Perfect. All right. So thank you guys so much for having me. I'm super excited to be with you all today and to tell you a little bit about the school. So Richard Bland is the only selective residential two-year college in the state. So basically what we do is take aspects of both the two-year community college system and the four-year system and kind of blend them together. So like your local community college, we do offer guaranteed transfer agreements with not just William and Mary, but every public university in the state other than me, as well as a pretty long list of private institutions. And we'll go into that in a little bit more depth in just a couple minutes. But like your four-year university, we also offer housing on campus. We have some super nice dormitories we'll get to watch a little video of. We also offer competitive sports. So we are part of the NJCAA Division I, JUCO Division I. I always mess that up. And we'll get into what sports and stuff we offer in just a couple minutes. We are located in South Prince George, Virginia. It's just about 30 minutes south of Richmond, and campus is in a very rural setting. It's really pretty. We have a lot of pretty nature trails and stuff around, but I always like to tell students that freshmen and sophomores can both have cars on campus and parking is free. So you kind of have the best of both worlds where you're out in nature, but the city is right there if that's something that you're more interested in. We also have lots of other colleges around. We're only about 12 minutes away from Virginia State University's campus. And then of course you have VCU and U of R right in Richmond. So our students will often participate in activities and stuff on those campuses as well. So we were founded in 1960 as a daughter school of William and Mary. Fun fact, we were actually founded along with ODU and CNU. All three of us were initially daughter schools, and the other two have just since gone on to be their own four-year institutions. But basically, that means we still do a couple of really cool things with William and Mary, including a co-enrollment program with them, where our students get to take classes on their campus of Tuesdays and Thursdays of every week. And we also have a really cool scholarship opportunity specifically for students interested in William and Mary that I'll talk about. One of the other biggest differences between us and your local community college is going to be the size. Like most community colleges like Nova have thousands and thousands of students and multiple campuses. We only have one campus, and we only have about 1,000 students that come to campus for class every day, so a lot smaller. That means class sizes are nice and small. They range from about 17 to 20 students, so you know your professors, they know you, you know your classmates. It just makes for a lot more individualized and one-on-one attention, which is something we really pride ourselves on. About 32% of our students are first-generation college students. About 60% are female, which is pretty on trend with the national average. And about 58% of our students do identify as a minority population, which is something we really pride ourselves on. We want our students to experience as much diversity and as many different cultures as possible on our campus before they transition into their bigger environment at their four-year university. So what we offer, since we are a two-year school, what we offer is associate's degrees, and we have 7 different associate's degrees. One of them is an associate's in arts, and the other 6 are the different associate's in science degrees listed up there. Our goal is for students to come and do 2 years with us at Richard Bland and earn their associate's degrees, and then to take advantage of one of our guaranteed transfer agreements and transfer with junior status to an institution of their choice to complete their last 2 years. So that way, at the end of your 4 years, you end up with both your associates and your bachelor's, and we're just going to be a more cost-effective way to get you there. Most of the classes that students take at Richard Bland are going to be the freshman, sophomore level general education requirements you're required to take at any four-year university. You just come and get them out of the way with us. So that and kind of your introductory level to your field of study courses. But we always say if there is a program or a major offered at a Virginia public four-year institution, we have a pathway to get you there regardless of what that is. So I did want to talk a little bit about our guaranteed transfer agreements. This is a list of just some of our more popular agreements. It's by no means the full list. You can find that on our website, which is rbc.edu. Like I said, we do partner with every public university in the state other than VMI, as well as a long list of private institutions. And these are going to work very similarly to the agreements that your community colleges offer, where you are guaranteed transfer with junior status as long as you meet the requirements outlined in the agreement. And we have a different agreement with each school. So for example, if you're trying to get into William and Mary from us, it's a 3.25 GPA requirement and certain prerequisite courses that you would have to take. Whereas if you're trying to transfer into VCU from us, it's only a 2.5 GPA requirement and certain prerequisite courses. So it does vary a lot school to school, and it kind of depends on where you want to go and what you want to study. But like I said, you can find the full list of those agreements on our websites, and you can even read the articulation agreements where it tells you exactly what you need to do in order to take advantage of them. But we have some awesome student supports in place to kind of make sure that students stay on track during their time at Richard Bland so that they can take advantage of whatever agreement they want to at the end of their time with us. And the most important of these student supports is our learner mentors. So our learner mentors are basically our academic advisors on campus, as well as our transfer and career counselors. Each student that attends Richard Bland is automatically assigned a learner mentor, and this is somebody who does help build semesterly course schedules, but they also have weekly access to attendance and grades, so that if a student is falling behind in a particular subject area, these are going to be the people that point them in the direction of resources to get them back on track, whether that be our free tutoring or free writing services, something like that. And kind of on the opposite spectrum, if a student is doing really well in a particular subject, these are going to be the people that point them in the direction of opportunities such as internships or work study opportunities, things like that. Again, this is something that we're able to offer because of our small size. So this is where a lot of that individualized and one-on-one attention comes into play. Campus life. So this is the fun stuff. So this is just a little map of campus just to give you guys a kind of a feel for where we are. We are technically spread out on 750 acres, which sounds huge, but the part that students have to access is not that big. So you're not running back and forth across campus trying to make it in between classes or anything like that. Campus is actually split into an east side and a west side of campus. And the east side of campus is mostly administrative offices, like my office admissions is over here, as well as financial aid, HR. We do have our pecan groves on this side of campus, as well as a really pretty Japanese water garden. So students are more than welcome to come over here and explore. They just don't usually need to be over here. All of their classes and the dormitories and everything else is going to be on the other side of campus. So right here in this area is our academic quad area. We only have 2 academic buildings, buildings 4 and 7. So you can see how close they are on the map. It makes it really, really easy to get back and forth in between class. It's really like a 3-minute walk or something like that. Also in this quad area, we have our library and our cafe. Since I mentioned we only have about 1,000 students that come to campus every day for class, we only have space for about 500 of those students to live on campus. So any given year, about 50 to 60% of our students are still commuters. So this is a really big hangout spot for students in between classes. Over across the street here, we have Statesman Hall, which is home to our athletic facilities and coaches' offices, which I'll talk a little bit more about. And then buildings 1 and 2 are Patriot and Freedom Hall, and those are our 2 high-rise dormitories. They have space for about 450 students. And we're actually going to get to watch a short video of the dorms. I think it's on my next slide. So the video that I'm going to play, I'm not sure that you all will be able to hear the audio. It's just music. There's no talking, and I'll go ahead and talk a little bit about it afterwards. But just in case you can't hear anything, you're not missing anything. Okay. All right, so just so you all can have a little bit of a feel for what they look like. As you can see, the dormitories, they are apartment suite style. They're super nice. Honestly, probably nicer than anything I got during my whole 4 years in college. In that video, so all the apartments do have 4 bedrooms like shown in that video, but they're not always doubles. Students do have the option to have a single bed, and that's just something that you would preference on your housing application, and your cost might vary a little bit dependent on whether you wanted to live with somebody else or if you wanted a single room. But it is those 4 bedrooms in each apartment, and then a full living room, full kitchen, 2 bathrooms, and a full washer and dryer in unit. So they are really nice little apartments. And if you get the chance, I definitely recommend that you come see them in person. And this video is available on our website if anybody wants to see it again, as well as more pictures and stuff like that. Sports. So as I mentioned, we are part of the NJCAA Division I, so JUCO Division I, and these are the sports that we currently offer. We actually had just put in a proposal for a third men's sport right before COVID hit, so unfortunately that's on pause for right now, but hopefully in time for fall 21, they will be bringing on a third men's sport. There were rumors of baseball or cross-country track, but nothing has been confirmed so far. So we'll definitely keep you guys posted on that. But I always tell students I can help get you into the school, but I can't help get you on the team. What I can do is put you in touch with coaches, and they're awesome about working with students about coming to visit school to talk about possible athletic opportunities or athletic scholarships and stuff like that. Our students, our athletes usually do go on to continue to play sports at their schools once they transfer. So we have students that will continue on at D2 or D3 schools during their last 2 years. Coaches are awesome about making sure that they can continue to play for the rest of their college career. But if you don't play sports competitively, but you still like to play sports, we do have intramural sports as well as a variety of other clubs and organizations on campus. Because we don't have any of the junior or senior leadership on campus, student interest changes pretty frequently. So we do our best to keep up with that change in student interest by making it really easy to start a club or organization if we don't already have something that you're interested in. You only need yourself, one friend, and a faculty member in order to start something. So you don't need a whole group of people. And again, this is something that's really cool that I find is pretty unique to Richard Bland. Because we are such a small atmosphere, it's really easy to get in on the ground floor of opportunities to either start a club or organization to really start to build your resume up. And that's one question I've gotten a lot this year is what would I tell myself as a senior in high school if I could go back? And the one thing that I would say is to get involved as early and as often as possible. Once you graduate, regardless of the degree that you hold, it's going to be really just as much about who you know as what you know. So starting to network early, starting to meet those people. It could even be a fun club, like a what's your favorite pizza club? And you could meet somebody in that club that later on is able to connect you with the company that you want to work with. So that's one recommendation that I make to students. And I think that's a really awesome opportunity students have at Richard Bland because we're so small to be able to get involved on a level like that. So you can also find a full list of what we're offering this semester on our website, rbc.edu. Like I said, there's a long list of clubs each semester. It just changes. So definitely go check out and see what's up there because they're still doing a lot of things, even though they're mostly virtual this year or this semester for the time being. Financial aid and scholarships. So this chart basically shows the difference in what it would cost to attend Richard Bland for a full year versus what it would cost to attend an average four-year college in Virginia. So I'm going to speak as if you all were residential students living on campus taking a full course load worth of classes, which is about 15 credits a semester. So all of that plus living on campus sticker price, you'd be looking at right around $18,000 for the year at Richard Bland, as compared with closer to $24,000 at the average four-year university. I would like to mention students are not required to live on campus. We do have students that come and they live in the surrounding areas. They get an apartment or a house with friends, totally doable. We also have plenty of students that commute, although from where you all are at, it might be a bit too far for a commute. We do offer, I know this year it was about 34% of our classes were offered online, and I think that's only going to increase with all the professors and everything being trained on virtual learning. So definitely a possibility for students to be online, only online students as well, if that's something that they're interested in. But I do like to say that these are sticker prices because the vast majority of our students don't end up paying anywhere close to sticker price. I think it's only something like 18% of our students even pay close to this $18,000. And a lot of that has to do with the scholarships that we offer. So the first one that I always like to mention is our Statesman Scholar Program. And this is a merit-based scholarship, but it does not have a separate application. Students are automatically considered once they've been accepted to Richard Bland and once we've received their FAFSA. But basically this takes into consideration the student's academic level of achievement in high school, so your high school GPA, as well as your estimated family contribution, which is something that they would pull from your FAFSA FAFSA. But if you graduate with a 3.0 to a 3.49, you're eligible to have anywhere between 20 and 50% of all of your out-of-pocket costs covered during your first 2 years at Richard Bland. If you graduate with a 3.5 or higher, you're eligible to have anywhere between 30 or 80% of all of those out-of-pocket costs covered. So that's a huge chunk of change right off the top for a scholarship that doesn't even require a separate application. And a lot of our students do take part in this. I do always like to mention that even though Richard Bland is a 2-year school, which means we do offer rolling admissions, which means we accept applications all the way basically up until classes start. But even though that's the case, our financial aid and our housing, all that good stuff that students are concerned about is still going to be on a first come, first serve basis. So we still do have priority deadlines and stuff for us to receive your FAFSA, which for us is March 1st. So the earlier that you commit to a school, the better, or the sooner that you know you're coming, usually the more money that you're going to be eligible for. So just something students to keep in the back of their minds, regardless of whether you're looking at Richard Bland or not. Just all that stuff that you really care about is going to be first come, first serve basis. The Promise Scholars Program, this is the program that I was talking about that is for students specifically interested in William and Mary. But basically this, and there is an application as well as an interview process for the scholarship. Students do have to have a 3.5 GPA out of high school, although I know that they sometimes that's not like a set in stone number. They do consider students that fall a little bit below that depending on the number of applications they get that year. But students do also have to be a Virginia resident and they have to be Pell eligible, which is again something they would pull from the FAFSA. But if selected, you get 80% of all of your out-of-pocket costs covered at Richard Bland for 2 years and 80% of all of your out-of-pocket costs covered at William and Mary. So you're getting that huge prestigious degree with 20%, if that, out of pocket. A lot of our Promise Scholars also participate in the Statesman Scholar Program as well as our Honors Program. So usually that last 20% is taken care of with other scholarships. But this is an awesome, awesome opportunity. And counselors, for you specifically, if you know any students that might meet this criteria, this is still a fairly new program. This is only the 3rd year of the program. And I think we only have 8 Promise Scholars in the program this year. So there was still spaces available. They select 15 students a year, which makes it sound super selective, but because it's so new, we just haven't had the number of applicants. So if a student is interested, like I said, even if they're a little bit below that 3.5 GPA mark, I definitely recommend that they apply. And you can find more information about that on our website. I would also be more than happy to put you in contact with Professor Tom Addington, who is kind of the point of contact for this program. So application requirements. So as I mentioned, we do have rolling admissions, which means the application is open pretty much all the way in time all the way up until classes start. But still, the sooner that we receive everything, the sooner you can start to work on next steps, which includes financial aid and housing, like I mentioned. Our application is on our website, rbc.edu, and we're also on the Common app this year for the first time. I do believe it's a $35 application fee on both, but we do have free application weeks. We just had one for Halloween. We're participating also in Virginia Free College Application Week, and we'll probably be doing one in December as well. So I will definitely be sure to keep you guys updated with those dates. But the application itself is super simple. It really only takes about 15 minutes to complete. The essay, there is an essay question on the application, but that is optional. And I usually recommend that if students have above a 2.5 GPA, that they don't really need to worry about submitting that. Once we've received your application, the only thing that we need in order to review it is a copy of your high school transcript. And this year we are being a little bit more flexible. We've created an upload link where students can go in and just take a picture or a screenshot of their unofficial transcript, and they can submit it to us that way, just for the purposes of us admitting them into the system. And then we would still need an official final before they could start classes or anything like that. But what we look for is a 2.5 GPA is preferred for standard admission, but we do work with students from a 2.0 and up. But typically, like I said, if you're below that 2.5 GPA mark, that might be when you want to consider submitting some of these optional documents, such as a letter of recommendation, an essay or personal statement. SAT or ACT scores are always optional, but if you're a really, really good test taker and that's something that you want to submit, definitely please feel free. They will only ever help your application and never ever hurt it. But once we've received your transcript, it's usually a pretty quick turnaround time for decisions. And if you guys are applying from Waynesboro, I will be your specific counselor for all year. So I'll be reviewing your application and your transcript. And I'm more than happy to set up one-on-ones with students if you guys have questions, whether that be to complete the application application, or if you just have questions. Otherwise, definitely please feel free to reach out. And counselors, please feel free to share my contact info with any interested students as well. But so this is all we need to review the application. And typically, if you have a 2.5 or up, you're going to be good to go. Again, if you're below that 2.5, we might request some of those optional documents, but we're still definitely going to review you. Other than that, this is just how you can stay connected with us on social media. I always recommend students, not just for Richard Bland, but any school that you're interested in, stay connected with the school on social media, because that's where they'll post a lot of their important dates, deadlines, fun stuff, open houses, stuff like that. So I know I personally do the Instagram page for admissions, so please come follow us. We like to do fun contests and shout outs and stuff like that. And last but not least is my little Bitmoji office, which again, I'll make sure that the counselors have access to so that they can share this with you all, students. But anything that I just talked about, you can access pretty much right in this office. So the transfer agreements, this is all linked directly to our website. You can pull this up and you can see for yourself. This is all the transfer agreements that I spoke a little bit about. You can also apply right from the Bitmoji office. And like I said, it's a super simple application, probably one of the easiest that you would have to complete. And I'd be more than happy to help anybody do that. We are still offering in-person campus tours. We're just not showing the residence halls right now because we do have students living in them. So we're trying to, keep it safe and socially distanced. But we do have tours of just the regular campus right now, and students can sign up for that right on our website. Other than that, I think that was, that's the end. So do you all have any questions for me off the top of your head?
Yeah, Jessica, thank you so much. That was wonderful and super informative. I did get kicked out of Zoom for a brief period, so if I ask a question that you've already answered, I hope it doesn't happen. But I think in regard to thinking about applications this year, I think one of the biggest things students are worried about is just they don't have as much as they normally would in the past to talk about, or with activities that they're doing, they aren't doing as many of those things. So what would you say is important for them to be thinking about in making their applications stand out this year?
I think it's important for students to realize that this is all stuff that we're taking into consideration with the COVID craziness, not being able to participate in extracurricular activities, or for like your last spring semester grades, having the pass fail grades and not having a letter grade to get that GPA bump. It's definitely affected students, and that's something that we are super aware of. I know the Common App has a COVID question where students have the opportunity to answer how COVID has impacted them or what obstacles they faced. And that's something that I encourage students to fill out if it has impacted them, if it's impacted their grades or really any part of their academic experience. That's something that I suggest answering, because that's stuff that we're going to take into consideration. And if you're not answering, or if you're not completing it via Common App, but you're submitting it through our website, that would be something you could include in just the regular essay section. Like I said, we're being very lenient in regards to extracurricular activities and all that good stuff this year. Totally understand everything is different and everything is virtual. But if students have experienced hardships or obstacles because of COVID, because of the craziness, and they want us to take that into consideration, that's stuff we want to know about. So that would be something to include in the essay personal statement section.
Awesome. Thank you. That's super helpful for students to be able to hear that. So you talked about how since a two-year school, students will mostly be focusing on those freshman and sophomore classes. If a student comes in and they do kind of have an idea of what they eventually want to go on to major in and get their degree in, is there a way or anything that you all do to support them in preparing specifically for those areas?
Absolutely. And we have like the introductory level to your field of study courses for students who have a little bit more of a solidified idea of what we want to do. We also have the co-enrollment program with William and Mary. That's something that a lot of our students take a part in, where they can take some more upper level classes at William and Mary than they would find here. So they do have the opportunity to do that. We do also accept, this is something that I didn't mention, and doesn't answer your question specifically, but it's kind of related. We allow students to transfer in up to 24 credits. So if you have AP or DE classes, the DE courses, it's a C or higher. The AP scores, there's a chart on our website. It's different for different exams, whether you need a 3 or a 4 on that exam to pass, but you can transfer in up to 24 credits, and an associate's degree with us is only 60 credits. So we do have students that come in and they do the Richard Bland part in less than 2 years. So and that's something, and then they're able to continue and go on into their last 2 years a little bit earlier than planned. But we do have stuff that they can participate. We do have an honors program that has honors level courses for students that have, again, a little bit more solidified idea of what they want to do. Those are going to be the higher level courses students have the opportunity to participate in.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That's super helpful. I think those are the main questions that I kind of had left over at the end. It was really enjoyable getting to hear all about Richard Bland, and we will be sure to pass your information along to any students who are interested or have additional questions. But it was really wonderful getting to hear from you. I don't know if Mrs. Wood has any other questions she wants to make sure get answered.
No, this is very helpful. This is a great option for a lot of students that maybe want to jump into college, but maybe not dive in head first.
Right. That's what I tell students is, I think one of the biggest reasons I didn't consider community college when I was graduating, when I was a senior, is because as much as I loved my family, I was ready to get out of the house, and I was ready for a little bit more of that independence. And at the time, I mean, I'm a student, I come from the Nova area, and I had never heard of Richard Bland. I didn't know it existed. I didn't know there was such a thing as a residential 2-year college. So it's definitely a really, really cool opportunity that we're just trying to share with more students.
Right. And I will tell everybody, definitely it's an easy transfer. Every college that you go on has the VCCS transfer equivalents and the Richard Bland transfer equivalents. So it's every school in Virginia has that list available. So it's a pretty easy transfer to any school. But anyway, this is great. This is super helpful. I'm hearing a lot more buzz about Richard Bland this past few years.
I love to hear that. That's the goal, kind of spreading our name in that area. Because like I said, I went to school up there and I had never heard of Richard Bland, but it is a really, really awesome opportunity. Like I mentioned, our application will be free for Virginia Free College Application Week, the 16th through the 20th. Okay. And I'll also send this to you all via email, but we are offering, they're kind of like on-site admissions or virtual on-site admissions between 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. of every day that week. Students can complete the application ahead of time, and then they can either come to campus or they can schedule a Zoom one-on-one to do basically an on-site event with just that student. So that's something that I'll definitely send to you all. There's a little QR code for students can sign up, select a time slot. But for any students that are interested in it, and like I said, I'm more than happy to set up one-on-ones for that week or any week, anytime that's convenient for students.
Awesome. That's great. Yeah, I'll definitely post that for you.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you having me on today.
Thanks for your time.
Of course. And I hope the rest of your fall continues to go smoothly, and hopefully maybe in the spring I'll see you guys in person. We'll see. Fingers crossed. All right. You all have a great rest of your day.